What does it mean to live graciously and love unconditionally?
Accepting people the way they are, where they're at, no judgment.
That's a supernatural ability to do that. So there's no way in our human flesh we can do that. Grace to love people where they're at absolutely takes God. I mean, the people that we love on who don't know him yet, who we are Jesus to, you have to ask for that. I mean, it's a friend of mine calls grace it's like grease, right? Grace. It allows things to happen, it allows things to flow. And that's the only way that you can love unconditionally, because there are no terms on God's love for us. And the only way for us to give that same thing is to be a conduit of his love to us, to others.
And I think maybe when people hear that, right, for me to love unconditionally, that means that I feel no pain or I don't get hurt. And that's not true.
Yeah.
That is not true. You're being vulnerable to that person, and you are going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But you still love them regardless of what happened to you. So
Yes.
even through that, you're loving them. Doesn't mean you don't have a conversation with them, but you're still loving them.
One of the translations in 1 Corinthians 13 says, "Love keeps no record of wrong."
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of the most powerful phrases, is that it keeps no record of wrong, which means wrong is going to happen,
Yeah.
but it doesn't remember, doesn't keep track.
Yeah.
And that's, if we can try to love, we can work on loving, and love will become us. But I think more than anything, what I'm learning is I'm really no better at loving now than I was 30 years ago. If it's me, I'm really not any farther along. But I am farther along in terms of trusting God, and trusting and depending on him in me to love others, letting go of me more, so that my experience of wronging or being wronged is not less, but I'm not offended as often because I'm living in love. I'm letting his love be me and change me.
It's interesting, Charity, that you asked that question, because I think that your name is actually, like, in a word, sums it up, right? Like, to be charitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tend to think of charity as mostly giving stuff or money or something. We give to the poor, we give to charities, we give money to them, we give our time to them. But living charitably involves giving anything that isn't deserved or isn't, I guess, earned is probably a slightly better word for it. And it could be something tangible, but it could also be a charitable posture into a situation. You can have a meeting with somebody or a conversation, and you go, oh, I know that person voted for that candidate, or they have this particular doctrine or theological position. So I'm going to assume that when they say certain things, they're coming from this perspective of not necessarily from wanting the best, right, or from wanting my best, or I can assume that they're coming from the same perspective that I am, of at least wanting the best outcome, for all involved, or for the relationship, for the conversation, and extend that kind of grace. And that's where grace is necessary in that situation. I think the other thing that is interesting is the way that we've defined or redefined love over the years, of having to do with more of a feeling, than actions. As far as how do we love your neighbor? How do we love other people? Well, what are their needs? What are we doing to take care of their needs?
Yeah.
How do I love myself? I get up every day. I feed myself. I take care of my family. There are obviously basic human needs that I'm taking care of for myself. And if I'm going to love my neighbor as myself, am I doing anything to take care of those needs before I think from the perspective of, do I have warm feelings in my heart for my neighbors? That probably is important too. I shouldn't have like dark thoughts in my heart for my neighbors. But it's not just having warm thoughts. That's not really what love is. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.